Guys, so randomly I got the day off work today, so I thought I'd address something that was important, really important, concerning the video about my hair and cutting my dreads and stuff like that. I just come on here today to tell you guys that I am not condoning legalism. Like, no, not at all, not at all. Salvation isn't based on any works. You know, my salvation isn't based on how I made my hair, and you know, that's just a personal preference for me, okay? So sometimes when we're praying on certain things individually on our walk and the Bible speaks to us, then it speaks to us, right? But I'm not saying that everyone needs to cut their dreadlocks off and no one should wear gold, and you know, I understand what context that passage is in, but personally on my walk, it was, for me, the dreadlocks was like, for example, there's a really great comment that I got about, like, you know, when you end a relationship, sometimes you change your hair, because you don't want things that remind you of that relationship. It's the same with me with now entering into this relationship with Jesus. I didn't want things that reminded me of the past too much, or I just, you know, it was just a new phase in life for me. So I'm not saying that dreadlocks are bad. I'm not saying that we shouldn't wear jewellery. If anything, we just shouldn't be, you know, like boastful and I think because they were the prostitutes, weren't they? So not being so like flirtatious and using and adorning ourselves to get that sort of lustful attention and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it's tricky because there's so many different perspectives watching me, so I just need to like clear up a few loose ends there where people have thought that maybe I'm condoning legalism and to do works for salvation, and that is definitely not the case. Absolutely not. Like, if any of you are leaning towards going that way, then please let this be a divine message for you from the Lord to not go down that path. Do not go down that path. Don't go back into bondage. And so, yeah, when I heard someone mentioning, because I'd cut my hair, whether I was going back into like legalism, I just had to come up on here right away and put that straight, because that is definitely not where I'm coming from at all. You know, it doesn't matter what we do. It's filthy rags to the Lord what we do. You know, He is the one that does the work through us. We don't. You know, none of it is through us doing any of it. It's just purely through God's grace working through us to transform us. You know, we can't be choosing off our own backs, off our own works to be doing any of it, because we can literally do nothing without the Lord. And so thinking that we can earn our salvation by things that we're doing is completely wrong. Completely wrong. We can't. Only the Lord can. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up, and I hope that was well enough said. I haven't really thought about a script or anything. I don't really do scripts before I come on here, so apologies on that. So yeah, and another thing I wanted to cover quickly is when I mentioned about throwing away crystals, and for example my rings as well, throwing them away. Okay, I'm not saying crystals are inherently evil. God created crystals, they're beautiful. Jewelry's beautiful, and that's fine, it's absolutely fine. What I'm saying is, when you've used them in situations of idolatry and you've used crystals as part of a setup to invoke spirits, which are really the demonic realm, when you've used these objects for spiritual practices, you've opened them up as a gateway for the dark demonic to come through. So when in the past when you've come to Christ and in the past you've done these things, you need to destroy the crystals and get rid of these things, because that's an access point for the darkness to come in. Okay, I'm not saying that crystals are bad and to just go on a big rampage and just smash all the crystals. You know, it's not, you know, things can be taken out of context with what I'm saying quite a lot, so I just wanted to clear up a few things, and there's so many more things to clear up, really. Okay, so while I'm here, I might as well continue. People have been asking me what denomination I am, and I would never want to say I'm a denomination. I mean, the Lord has transformed my life completely, and you know, I was led to read about the Holy Spirit and realise that that was what was going on. And then when I read John 3:3 about Jesus saying one must be born again to even see the kingdom of God, it was just completely what was going on. And you know, before I knew Jesus, I didn't know anything really, and so yeah, when the Lord revealed himself to be the truth to me, I could see the kingdom, I could see it was all true. And so born again Christian is what I would say that I am, just because it's the most biblical, you know. I wouldn't really suggest anyone to get into a denomination, just simply because there's so much more tradition of man involved than the word. You know, a lot of stuff in, and I won't go into detail, but a lot of stuff in these denominations are quite far removed from the original truth, and there's a lot of false doctrine put in there. So yeah, so I would class myself as born again Christian. And the church that I attend to is called Calvary Chapel, if you guys have heard of that. Every church is different, you know, and even within the same group of churches, so you know, you could go to a Calvary Chapel where you are and it might not be so great. I fortunately have found a brilliant Calvary Chapel. Just, you know, God spoke from the first moment we went into that church, because me and my mum searched together and we both went to it. I was told about Calvary Chapel from my father, who is in America. He's a born again Christian, so he'd been talking to me about the Lord my whole life, and I was completely had a wall up until I found the Lord through my own long journey around. I finally came home, but yeah, so I understand why people have got a guard up. I so did for so many years. So yeah, he told me about Calvary Chapel, my dad did, and then we searched it in Google, me and my mum, and then we went there that day, and it was just like what was being taught in the word that day was so poignant for me and my mum. It was like instantly we knew that this was the right church, and everyone was so spirit filled. They are so spirit filled, and the Lord continues to work through and speak through everyone there, and yeah, I'm just so fortunate to have found such a great church. So yeah, I think I should do a video about church, because this is super duper important for you to find a church family to edify your walk. Absolutely. So what else? So I've covered those things. Okay, so relationship status wise, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to get married. Since I came to the Lord, I've been celibate, obviously, and that's a miracle in itself. And so I'm just focusing on Jesus. He's my main man. I don't have time for another man in my life unless, you know, unless God literally puts a man right in my path, and it's like all arrows needs to happen. But until then, I'm not seeking any relationship, and I don't intend to. So yeah, the Lord is he's enough for me. It's incredible. I think because my past, I was always needing a relationship, so as soon as I found Jesus, he healed me to the point where I don't feel the need, you know. Whereas, because that was my, I think, a bit of a weak point in me before, is I always needed to be in a relationship, whereas now, no, I have no feel like I want that. So we'll see how long that, I don't know, we'll just see how that goes. Yeah, I'm fiddling with this thing, by the way, sorry if you guys are like, what's she doing? Yeah, this weird like arm thing for the camera, what I use now, so I don't have to hold the phone, which is good. I've upped my equipment. So yeah, anyway, that's just covering a few bits. Yeah, I've got so many videos that I need to make yet, but literally I have like 2 days a month now free. So I'm busy all the time, and God is great, Jesus is incredible, and yeah, tonight I think, well, I know I'm going to be meeting with my church family, and we're going to be doing a prayer evening together. So just waiting on the Lord and praying all together as a group. And yeah, I often go to fellowship with them, and it's just very, very important on your walk with the Lord, definitely, to be around people who are believers as well, definitely. Yeah, so like for example, I was at church, it was like, I think it was 3 weeks ago now, when I was speaking to a sister, and we were talking about spiritual warfare stuff, right? And we were just like, you know, it's just wonderful that we can come and talk to each other about certain aspects, because otherwise really the enemy would be winning. You know, you're not alone with what's going on. We're all experiencing it, but we really need to come together to edify each other and give each other strength, and we can relate to one another, and it's just super duper important. So when looking for a church, I wouldn't look for like a building, obviously. I'd look for the group of people, because they are the church. So I think I've covered a few things there, so hopefully this video is not too much of a ramble, and yeah, okay, alright then. God bless you guys, have a lovely day, love you all, bye.